World Basketball Day just exposed something the mainstream media refuses to talk about. While the WNBA and the Players' Union are busy tearing each other apart in a battle that could implode the entire league, fans from Slovenia to Singapore are waking up at 3 a.m. just to watch the Indiana Fever. I'm talking about people flying across oceans, customs agents recognizing jerseys, entire countries unable to buy official merchandise because the league still can't figure out basic international shipping. This isn't growth. This is a once-in-a-generation global explosion, and it's being mismanaged at every level. But before I show you the insane posts fans shared yesterday, let me give you some context that'll blow your mind. December 21st, 1891. Dr. James Naismith invents basketball, not as a sport, but as a tool for Christian ministry. A Canadian YMCA educator builds this game to shape character, build discipline, and reach young people through athletics. Muscular Christianity, they called it. The reason basketball spread worldwide? YMCA missionaries took it everywhere: China, Europe, Africa. The sport exploded because it was tied to purpose, community, and impact. Keep that origin story in your mind, because what's happening with the Indiana Fever right now is the closest thing we've seen to that kind of viral global spread in over 100 years. Now here's where it gets crazy. On World Basketball Day, the Indiana Fever posted one simple question on X. Where are you cheering from? They expected replies from Indiana, maybe a few Midwestern states. What they got instead was a worldwide stampede, a masterclass in the Caitlin Clark effect. And before anyone says, it's not just one player, let's be honest. Kelsey Mitchell has said it. Sue Bird admitted it on her podcast. Even the haters can't deny it anymore. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring fans. She brought an unprecedented global wave that turned Indiana into the center of women's basketball. The replies started normal enough. New York, Minneapolis, South Carolina. Then the floodgates opened. Milan, Italy. A fan flew from Italy all the way to New York just to watch the Fever play the Liberty. A transatlantic flight for a regular season WNBA game. Unreal. Slovenia. A fan says they watch every Fever game live. Never watched a full Lakers or Mavericks game in their life, but they're locked in on Indiana. Europe and South America. Fans begging for merchandise they literally cannot buy. The demand is massive. The money is ready. The league? Nowhere to be found. This is business incompetence. You have a global gold mine and can't even process jersey orders. Then comes Singapore. A fan wakes up every morning at 3 a.m. to watch games and wants the Fever to come for an exhibition because the NBA's Asia HQ is right there. The WNBA has a built-in international launchpad and isn't using it. New Zealand. Someone took their Fever fandom all the way to Papua New Guinea for Christmas. The reach is that deep. This isn't fandom. This is cultural penetration. This is the kind of explosive, organic growth leagues spend millions trying to create. And it's happening naturally because of one generational star and the team around her. The Connecticut Sun story? Absolutely savage. A fan said that at a Fever versus Sun game in Connecticut, the Sun's home court, there were more Indiana jerseys than Connecticut jerseys. That's not an away game crowd. That's a hostile takeover. If that doesn't tell you everything about the shift happening in women's basketball, nothing will. And it's not just overseas. Hawaii. A fan says they have no pro teams, so Caitlin and the Fever became their identity. Illinois. A mom says Caitlin brought her into college basketball, then into the WNBA, and now she loves the entire Fever roster. That is the dream pipeline. Star college audience, pro league loyalty. It's happening in real time. And the league is either going to harness this moment or lose the biggest global boom the women's game has ever seen. Let's talk about the diversity of this fan base, because it completely destroys the old narrative that women's basketball only appeals to one type of person. That idea isn't just outdated, it's dead. Fans are posting from Germany, France, the UK, Canada, Nigeria, South Africa, Argentina, Chile, different continents, different cultures, different time zones, all united around one team. And the photos? They tell the real story. You've got little kids in Fever hoodies, elderly fans proudly holding up jerseys, families traveling together to away games, even someone's dog rocking a Caitlin Clark number 22 shirt. This isn't a niche audience. This is multi-generational, international, and rapidly accelerating. A fan in Chicago, deep in Sky territory, said supporting the Fever has strained some friendships, but they're keeping the fever high. That's the passion that fuels rivalries, sells out arenas, moves merch, and creates lifelong fans. Another fan rolled through Canadian customs wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt, and the customs agent said they were a fan too. That's not just popularity, that's cultural penetration. When border security recognizes your jersey, you're no longer just an athlete. You're a global movement. And here's where the reality check hits. Sue Bird said colleges will probably study this moment in sports history, the way Caitlin Clark blew up the WNBA almost overnight. And she's right. This isn't normal. This isn't steady growth. This is a volcanic eruption of attention that shocked everyone, including the league. Every single metric, attendance, ratings, merch sales, social engagement, didn't improve. They exploded. In one season. That simply does not happen. Except it just did. And that's what makes the WNBA's current situation so frustrating. You have a once-in-a-lifetime wave of momentum. Fans watching from Rwanda, Papua New Guinea, countries where basketball isn't even in the top 3 sports. People waking up for 3 a.m. tip-offs, spending thousands on travel, literally begging to buy merchandise the league can't supply. And what's happening behind the scenes? A labor standoff that could derail everything. The WNBA and the Players' Union need to understand what's at stake. This isn't just about salaries or revenue splits. This is about securing a moment the sport may never see again. Caitlin Clark has said it repeatedly. This is the greatest moment in women's basketball. And she's right. But the greatest moment means nothing if the whole system collapses under it. If the season is delayed, or worse, canceled, the fallout will be irreversible. Host fans in Singapore might stop setting 3 a.m. alarms. Those fans in Italy might not book another transatlantic flight. That fan in Connecticut might drift back to supporting their home team. Momentum is fragile. You can't pause it and expect it to return with the same fire. The league owes it to every single person who posted their location yesterday, from West Des Moines to Athens, to get this figured out. Now, before the spark becomes smoke. Let's bring it back to where this sport began. Dr. James Naismith created basketball as a way to reach people, build community, and spread a message that went beyond borders. He couldn't have imagined what the game would become, but the core purpose still holds true today. Basketball connects people. It transcends language, geography, and culture. And what the Indiana Fever are experiencing right now proves that women's basketball carries that same power, the same global pull, the same ability to unite strangers under one shared passion. Now the question becomes, can the business side of the WNBA rise to the moment that its athletes have created? Caitlin Clark said it best, a rising tide lifts all boats. And that tide hasn't lifted just Indiana, it's elevated the entire league. Aaliyah Boston is finally receiving the recognition she deserves. Kelsey Mitchell is getting her flowers as one of the best scorers in the game. Lexi Hull suddenly has an international fan base. The Sun, the Sky, the Liberty, every team is benefiting from this explosion of attention. But they will only keep benefiting if the league does its part. If they fix international shipping. If they schedule exhibition games in Singapore and Europe. If they expand global streaming access. If they make it easy for the fans who've already shown up to stay connected. Just look at what we witnessed on World Basketball Day. A simple social media post asking, "Where are you watching from?" turned into a worldwide roll call. Hundreds of replies. Dozens of countries. Fans posting photos, telling stories, expressing frustration about merchandise, and pledging loyalty despite every obstacle. That's not manufactured hype. That's organic, authentic, passionate fandom. That's the foundation every great sports league is built on. And it's being handed to the WNBA on a silver platter because one player was so transcendent she pulled millions into the sport with her. So, where do we go from here? The off-season is critical. International shipping must be fixed immediately. Global exhibition tours need to be scheduled. Streaming access has to expand. And most importantly, the labor dispute needs to be resolved before everything collapses under its own momentum. Because those fans posting from Singapore, from Italy, from Greece, from New Zealand, they're watching. They're invested. They're ready to make women's basketball part of their lives permanently. But they need the league to meet them halfway. They need infrastructure. They need access. And above all, they need the games to keep happening. This is the legacy moment. This is where women's basketball either seizes a generational opportunity or watches it slip away because of internal conflict. Fans from Slovenia to Singapore, from New York to New Zealand. They've bought the jerseys, set the alarms, booked the flights, declared their loyalty. Now it's on the league, the owners, and the players' union to prove they deserve this moment, to prove they can handle the growth, to prove they understand the stakes. World Basketball Day used to be a historical footnote about Naismith and the YMCA. This year, it became a global reveal of how far women's basketball has come and how far it can go. The Indiana Fever didn't just ask where fans were cheering from. They uncovered the scale of a global movement. And if the WNBA plays this right, if they lock in, stop the infighting, and capitalize on this momentum, we are witnessing the beginning of something historic, not just for women's basketball, but for the entire sport. So to everyone who posted yesterday, from Montana to Milan, West Des Moines to Athens, Honolulu to Cape Town, this moment belongs to you too. You are the proof that women's basketball has arrived on the world stage. And to the decision makers in the WNBA, look at that thread. Read every reply. See every country represented. You have something rare, something powerful, something the sports world doesn't hand out often. Don't waste it, because the whole world is watching, literally, and they're waiting to see what you do next.